This is the fastest Toyota they've ever built, they say.
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive considering there's a lot of other vehicles.
It's not the fastest Lexus.
True, that is true, but the fastest Toyota.
We're at Summit Point Raceway in West Virginia. Here we are lucky enough to be among the first 20 journalists in the United States, actually anywhere in the world,
right,
to be able to drive the brand new Toyota Supra.
Ooh, very hot.
Mr. Akio Toyota said, "Build no boring cars."
Thank you, Mr. Toyota. All right, welcome to His Turn, Her Turn on Car Coach Reports. I'm Lauren Fix.
And I'm Paul Bryan.
And we are very excited to drive the Supra. We've been waiting for this. I think you've been waiting for this. Before we jump in the car and get it on the track and on the road, there's a few things we wanted to cover, especially the history.
This is a car that was built in cooperation with BMW.
Right.
With Toyota was seeking that engine. They wanted a turbocharged 6-cylinder engine, and so they went to BMW for that. I think from a styling standpoint, though, a couple of things I want to get to here, and we'll put this up here on a different screen. But if you take a look at this section that comes down here, down into this flat, think of a modern Formula One car. An F1 car has got this same kind of line to it right now, where the driver is actually sitting almost on his back and his feet are up. So this kind of gives that same visual effect. And you noticed and referenced the double bubble top.
Right. So if you look at this, it's up and down. You need that for head clearance, but there's more to that. It has to do with airflow. But as you go back to the back of this vehicle, you can see it's more than just there. It has purpose. There's a built-in wing. I love the sewer pipe exhaust. On a car like this with an inline 6, you wouldn't think that, but the design and the styling is very purposeful on this vehicle.
Yeah, I know.
Your first impression getting this car is this is very trackable. It's got a very firm ride. There's lots of aluminum and carbon fiber, and they didn't cut corners. And I'm really impressed because Toyota needed this, and Akio Toyota was a big part of making this change. So, I'm going to say, what about the seats? Oh my gosh, they're fantastic. 14-way seats. You've got your lumbar adjustment 4-way on both sides. Plus, you can adjust the side bolsters, which I appreciate. I'm not a big person, so it kind of holds me in the seat. Love the steering wheel, nice and grippy. It's got paddle shift. It is only automatic, which I am disappointed. We noticed right away when we got in the car, the shifter and the multimedia interface looks very BMW to me, which I think is manufactured, by the way. As far as the vehicle itself, you can adjust the sport modes, and of course I put it right into sport and shut off that automatic auto off for the eco kind of mode. But listen. Love the exhaust note. There is a burbly exhaust note, which I think is really important. I think some of it might be manufactured, but overall, this vehicle is easy to use. And if you're thinking I'm going to buy a BMW Z4 or a Cayman, that's a lot more expensive. You will be nickel and dime with every single option. Love both products. But when you're thinking I need a car that I can drive on the weekend, maybe autocross, maybe put on some driving school events, this is it. And you can shut off the forward collision warning, the lane departure, and everything, which I think you must do in order to get on most track events. And if you're going to start getting into learning to drive this vehicle better, guess what? They include a one-day driving school, which I think is important, especially if you don't have any racing experience. As far as all the controls, easy to use, easy to understand. You have to go kind of deep to shut off some of the controls, which we had to go deep into the system menu to find that, but I think you get used to it when you own a vehicle like this. I am really pleased. Wireless Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, and in the launch edition as well as in the premium edition, wireless charging. I think those should be standards, and we've discussed this multiple times, but all the controls are so easy to use. There's not much. One thing I do like, and I think from a user standpoint, you can see right there, that is the passenger to the rear. So I've got my helmet, Paul's got his gear back there, and you can toss things back there, which is nice. There's no back seat. This absolutely seats two. But as far as balance, it's a very well balanced 50-50 car. In my opinion, I like the brakes. They're Brembos, best on the market. Visibility wise, I think it's kind of limited, but then again, I'm driving forward, so this is the kind of car. It's not an SUV. It has a reasonable height belt line, which is where you rest your arm potentially. But I think this is a car you're going to put on the track. This is maybe not your daily driver, in my opinion. I would buy the launch edition because there's only 1,500 of them, and that will be your collectible down the road when you're looking at auction prices of the older Supras. Overall, I'm really pleased. I can't wait to put this on the track, but I'm kind of curious what Paul thinks.
Let me tell you something. This is fun. It's one of those twisty, tight roads where I can remember years ago, both both Bobby and Al Unser were trying to teach me how to left foot brake. They thought that I would be a lot faster on roads like this, left foot braking. I never got the hang of it or really mastered the technique. They were convinced that it was the fastest way through roads like this. Whatever I lost in that technique, I'm regaining from the capabilities of this car. This is a lot of fun to drive. It is tight as a drum, the chief engineer said as we were exiting the resort property. He said, drive it as slowly as possible because it's 2.3 times stiffer than the 86. Did I get that stat right?
Yeah, you did. And the 86 obviously is the baby to this car.
And
entry level.
when you go into sport mode, the steering gets heavier, the damping gets more aggressive. The turn-in on the car is really, really sweet. When you get into a Type 1, there's no push. I'm not feeling any understeer on the car at all. It's tracking through pretty well, and I'm going to be very interested on the track when we get out to Summit Point, because that neutrality will, I think, really translate exceptionally well to the racetrack. What Lauren was talking about was shutting off all of the systems, which we like to do anyway. We haven't shut off the traction control for this section of driving, but I sure am tempted to. And the other thing that's nice about it too is that the torque peaks up at about 1600 RPM, twin scroll turbos. So it's gonna build up very, very quickly, and the torque holds from about 1600 RPM to, I think it starts to drop off at about 4600 RPM. So very usable range for the torque. All the stuff that Lauren said about the seating position, I couldn't agree more on that. Spot on with seats. Great job, Toyota. I like the lumbar. You know, I never comment about lumbar support, but in this chair, it's hugging me so nicely here in my torso. And two things. I'm very long-waisted. I'm 6'3", but I've got very short legs. I've got these little dwarf legs that go around it. And there's enough headroom here, and I think that's really good, especially going to be this afternoon when you put on your custom Gee-Whiz doo-wop
my Stillo carbon helmet.
Carbon fiber helmet.
Yes.
That's it from here. Let's get it on the track. We'll do a little
awesome.
wrap up.
We're at Summit Point. Let's go have some fun.
Yowza. While most of us are only going to have the opportunity to drive it on the street, we are going to have a chance to drive it on the track, and you brought your special whoop-de-doo.
I brought my carbon fiber Stillo helmet, but you said you're just going to grab a helmet, and that's fine because this can be used on an autocross course, but we're here at Summit Point Raceway, and I want to see what it can do on the track.
Well, wear that, but don't use it.
Okay, try not to.
Okay.
All right, you take the red one, and I'll grab this white one.
Here we go.
All right.
Jose Jimenez, the famous Mexican astronaut, was asked, "Is that a crash helmet?" And he said, "Oh, I hope not." Same thing here. Remember what we were talking about? Was there enough headroom to have the helmet on the car? Yeah, and I've still got an inch to go.
I think one of the important things to know about the new Supra is this adaptive suspension truly works like they say. Tighter steering, great sounding exhaust, and all the shift points change. Pretty impressive.
Okay, we both had seat time on the street, and we both had seat time on the track. My takeaway is that this is a powerfully fun car to drive.
Yeah, this would be hard to leave in your garage.
It's far more than remarkably competent.
Yeah, you can have a lot of fun with it. You could autocross it. You could take it to performance driving schools. It's not a race car, but boy, can you have a blast driving this on the roads. You know, just enjoy it, modify it, because there'll be a lot of modifiers on these cars.
There's going to be 1,500 launch edition models out at
They're gonna be
dealers.
sold quick.
Well, I want to make sure that they are sold to customers and not gobbled up by dealers,
Right.
like they did with the LFA, the guys who bought them as investment pieces.
But the launch edition has a red interior. It has red caps on the mirrors, and
Which are very cool.
I think it looks cool.
Yeah.
And you know, and there are also flat colors. There's 8 colors available, 3 interiors with the launch edition. Otherwise, it's Alcantara black or regular black leather. This is the fastest Toyota they've ever built, they say.
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive considering there's a lot of other vehicles.
It's not the fastest Lexus,
True, that is true, but the fastest Toyota.
but the fastest Toyota.
We've driven pretty much all the competition there's going to be in this category, or more to come. Our most current uploads here, what YouTube suggests there. Subscribe, and all of our social media for both Paul and I are down below, and we look forward to hearing your comments because they're always really good.
We like them.
Good, bad, and indifferent. We'll take them. Thanks for watching.
Ciao.